When last we left our intrepid adventurers, Cricket was being awesome as usual, and everyone was all like super happy they owned her and all that. Okay. No, I'll try and be accurate, even though John isn't here to stop me from saying anything I want. Yes, let the record show this is a Johnless retelling, so this is entirely from the perspective of one of the players. So there'll be no behind-the-scenes stuff unless I make it up. What was the last thing? At the end of the previous session, we had gone to the Warforged, to their new secret hideout.
It was like a bunch of craziness.
Yeah, we tracked the Warforged to their new secret hideout after we discovered their old secret hideout.
And then you convince them not to move because you just find them again. We just find them
again, and they just have to keep killing more ne'er-do-wells and taking their secret hideouts. Because that's what happened last time, is they massacred. And Aurora feels really bad about this. And she's like, oh, they killed all those hoodlums. They had mothers, you know. I want to go and talk to their mothers now. And we're like, no, Aurora, we got stuff to do. So yeah, we go to the new secret hideout. And it's funny because the Warforged still have a kill order on us. But every time we meet them, we convince them to put it off for a while. So yeah, we met with them last time. And, you know, despite them having a kill order on us, they let us in. And we talked to their obelisks through the Waystone. And it made an appointment to talk with Croesus. And so we're like, okay, we're going to go. And they're like, but we have a kill order for you. And we're like, we're going to be back tomorrow to talk to the obelisk. We're not going anywhere. And they're like, I guess. All right, come back tomorrow and then we'll kill you. And it's like, we promise. It's a very strange situation where those Warforged. It's funny though, because as we've been interacting with them, they've been loosening up and becoming more and more person-like. They're not like crazy robots just following orders. They're actually berating each other for being dumb and stuff like that. So yeah, it's funny. They're starting to be more like people, even though, you know, they're not people. They're things, as Cricket insists. So it's the next day. Let me see. I'm trying to remember what if we did anything before we went to the Warforged. We spied on them. Serendipity, Ben Goldstar, Nora, Top Right Tower, Shep, Soul, Doomslayer had set up a ritual to scry on them, and we could only scry on them for a limited period of time. And I remember she lucked out, and we overheard them like talking about how they would let us in to talk with the obelisk or something. So we were a little bit like, okay, this will go smoothly. Everyone's in agreement, at least on the part up to the point where they kill us. So we'll do that part, and then we'll disagree on the killing us part later. So we go... Oh no, the very first thing we did, that's right, before we even went to the Warforged, there's a deadline on registering Cricket. It's a week-long deadline. And so we're like, oh yeah, we can put that off, right? No, we're going to do that like very, very first thing, because something's going to come up, we'll be isolated for a week, and then everything will get strange because now Cricket's abandoned property again.
Right.
So the party troops down to the Imperial Embassy, and the whole way there, Croesus is grumping and complaining, and he's like, all right, everybody, let's go and make you all proper slave owners. You're all happy with this, right? This is your plan to go down there and become slave owners now, right? Okay, just making that clear. Croesus was really sarcastic. You wouldn't expect him to be a sarcastic person, but he was really sarcastic. So we go down there to the Imperial Embassy, and we talk with the embassy guy. And John tries to do a German accent.
This is where when John was here.
Yeah, where he would be objecting. And, no, I think he would agree that it was a pretty terrible accent. It was like, are they Swedish? It's like, no. Anyway, I don't know. It was identifiably a German accent, but yeah. Of course, I'm having weird problems because I've always imagined the Empire as being very Roman. John had always pictured them as Nazis.
That was their sort of
and that's what everyone thinks of them as.
Yes.
But I imagine them as being the Roman Empire, essentially. Right down to the togas and the villas with the yeah. That was my impression of it. We've never actually been to the Empire, though, so this is the very first time we're actually talking to an Imperial citizen. So yeah, we talked to this guy, and he's very hilariously bad at his job. And we sort of like, okay, this is why they've sent him to an embassy in the middle of nowhere, like remotely from the Empire. But he manages to dig up some forms that are necessary for registering cricket. And they've got a bunch of stuff in there, and I'm warning everyone, make sure you uncheck the checkboxes that offer to install browser bars on me and set my default search engine and all that sort of stuff. Uncheck the bit where you want the newsletter. There were some bits in the forums for I submit myself as a subject of the Empire of Endless Flowers and stuff that they skipped over, which they didn't need to fill out in order to register cricket. It was just sort of advisable. And so, turns out Aurora did sign. She's hopelessly deluded. She thinks she's adopting cricket. That's how she's convinced herself to sign the papers. Croesus stuck to his principles, as is expected from Noblin, and did not sign. So, cricket's now down to 3 owners. Of course, they've told her to, treat Croesus as part of the party and all that sort of stuff, so it won't actually change anything. But from there, we went on to go and talk with the obelisk. We go to the warforged secret hideout. We try and do the secret knock.
Right.
We don't really try. We just sort of bang on the door. And the warforged behind the door was like, that was really terrible. And we're like, you know who it is. Let us in. So he lets us in reluctantly. And we go down to the room with the waystone. And we're waiting for the obelisk to phone in because it's not quite ready yet. They still have that pile of dead hoodlums in the basement. And Aurora's really bothered by this. And so we spend half an hour trying to figure out how to dispose of this pile of corpses that the warforged have. And the warforged are completely why do you want to do that? I don't get it. Whatever, okay. But we weren't allowed to take them out of the building. So we decided we had to cremate them. And then I pointed out that would flood the building with corpse smoke. And so we came up with this elaborate, using force walls and magical fire, and we have an access point to the sewer. So we're using the sewer as a chimney. It was kind of elaborate and ridiculous, but we did that. We set them on fire and then piped the smoke down into the sewer. I don't think we had anything to do that. And once you get in a cremating mood, that's what you got to do. You solve the problems with cremating.
Do you have extra dimensional magic? Or portals? You can use that as your chimney as well.
Well, we have our cellar, but we don't want to fill that with corpse smoke. That's not all our stuff in it. All our treasure would smell corpsey.
What if you set the corpse on fire and then timeless track them all?
I mean, granted, we hollowed out a dragon and dumped everything into there before, so it probably does smell corpsey in there.
Or you just cast gentle repose and use them for decoration.
I think make a corpse pile, set it on fire, and then timeless trek.
The corpse pile will make it save and come back fairly soon, though.
I don't know, will it?
I imagine. Timeless trek is a very temporary thing.
Yeah, might be long enough to let them burn, though.
Yeah.
If the fire is really intense.
Well, we solved it in our own way. There were probably sewers all over the city with corpse smoke coming out of it, and everyone was like, what's going on? And they're like, it's Allen Way. Forget it, it's Allen Way.
And you didn't pollute some other plane of existence.
No. So finally, Croesus gets contact with the obelisk. And the first thing the obelisk does is recite the law to him, and it does so perfectly. More than perfectly. It's better than any Oblin has ever recited a law to him. So Croesus is totally in awe and happy and oh man, this is totally the obelisk. And then finally the obelisk finishes its little spiel, which is sort of an authentication thing. And Croesus is all teach me, obelisk. Tell me what is true. And so the obelisk, in its infinite wisdom, tells Croesus, you are hopelessly broken. You should commit suicide. Not quite in those words, but essentially I condensed it down by only a few words. It was like you are broken and cannot be fixed. You should go on detached duty, which is basically suicide mission.
Right, go into the
chasm and fight until you're dead. It's essentially the calling.
Yeah.
And so Croesus, well, first of all, Tim, the player, is like, okay, I wasn't expecting that. What'll I do for Croesus? Okay, Croesus goes, no, and smashes the waystone. That is the communication with
Yeah.
the obelisk. And we're surrounded by like 20 warforged that have a kill order on us, but they're putting it off while we talk with the obelisk. It's like, and then we're all like, okay, so what does the party do? Grab Croesus and run! Run! And fortunately, we got a surprise round because of smashing the waste, because nobody expected that. So we run. We grab Croesus and we run, we get out of there. Just like last time, you know? You'd think that the Warforged would get used to this by now. It's like, okay, they're going to come in here, everything will seem like it's all planned out, then something will go horribly awry and they'll run. They'll get a surprise round because we're not expecting it.
They're not quite as used to you as you guys are.
Yeah. We run out on the streets and Croesus just starts sprinting and screaming and no! And eventually we catch up with Croesus. For a moment there, it looked like he was the fastest in the party, and we would never catch him. And it would be some hilarious run through the city, like.
Now, is running on foot faster than ziplining everywhere?
That was how we just eventually got him. It was like everybody is using the beam shots.
They're Spider-Man in the city.
Yep.
So they catch him.
Fortunately, the whole party can Spider-Man now.
Thanks to time travel and cheap artifacts.
Yep. So we managed to catch up with him, and serendipity, Van Gogh, Charmelor, Toppler, Tower, Shepherd, Little Child, True Time, Doomdelair, cast Calm Emotions on Croesus. It takes 10 minutes, so that was odd. But, so we get Calm Emotions on him, and we can talk with him now about what we should do. What we should do about all this. We figure, okay, we got to unbreak Croesus.
Yeah. That was on your quest stack too.
It was on our quest stack anyway. Now we're thinking, okay, can we do an emergency unbreaking of Croesus? Well, our plan was, what had happened with Croesus is, he went on detached duty with his friends. And over the course of a very long, epic journey through the chasm, his friends got killed one by one. And as each one got killed, Croesus took their heart, as is Oblin tradition, took the heart with him. And then finally, when it was just him left, Stacia convinced him to flee the chasm. Mm-hmm. And the only way, there was a cliff that was the way out of the chasm, but it was alive with chaos monster energy.
Which is where you fell.
No, this is somewhere very far away.
Oh, okay.
We didn't, in fact, know where this was until this session. We figured it out. There was this cliff you had to climb, but it was a chaos cliff, so the rock was all like that.
Yeah.
But if you jam a waystone into the rock, that sort of makes it quiescent.
Right.
So he had all these hearts. And so he was using them as pitons to climb the cliff. Every time he jammed one of his friend's hearts into the cliff, it would make the cliff climbable in that region. And Stacia was telling him that she was fetching the stones for him and bringing him back up, but she wasn't. She was lying. So he gets to the top of the cliff, and he realizes that he's left all his friends' hearts behind.
Yeah.
And he's really messed up. And that's when he has his sort of terminal breakdown, essentially. And that's when Stacia puts him to sleep so that he'll have this healing dream, and that's what he thinks he's in right now.
Right.
So, our original plan was to secretly follow along behind his party through the Chaos Chasm, the worst place in the world. And every time one of his friends was going to die, we would swap out their body at the last second with a fake.
Right.
And save his friend. And then at the end, we'd be all like, look, we've saved all your friends, and now you can be less crazy. Yeah, that was going to be really hard.
Yeah. Why don't you just go get the hearts back?
That's what we've settled on. We've decided it'd be easier just to go get the hearts. Maybe we can still unkill his friends later, but first we'll get the hearts.
But if his friends were also broken, you need to unbreak his friends.
Screw his friends. Don't care about them. They're not important. But yeah, we were having some big elaborate plans for how, I mean, after each of them died, Croesus cut them open and took their hearts out. So, and we need to fool an Oblin that the hearts are genuine waystones and stuff. So we were like, okay, how are we going to make a fake body for each of his friends that Croesus will believe? And so we figured, well, what we'll do is when we rescue them, we'll run off a time duplicate of them and then kill one of the time duplicates and then use that as the fake corpse. It's a perfect fake corpse because it's actually their dead body.
Frank is face palming right now.
Oh man.
And we'll have to do that for each of the friends.
Or you can just go get their heart.
Or we could just go get their heart. And so we're probably just going to go get the heart.
Run off a duplicate with the express purpose of murdering.
But it's necessary in order to save their lives, though.
How do you convince the one that you're running the duplicate on that you're going to kill his duplicate?
We may have to just kill them, and then there's a combat. It's like, it's okay, Croesus, we're going to save your friend. First, you have to help us kill him.
Don't worry, this will unbreak you at the end.
It was always a bit of an odd plan, I suppose, but
Odd.
so we did some scrying.
Hey, Croesus, can you go shopping?
It's nap time. Take a nap.
Problem is, even though we now have this much simplified plan B that doesn't involve murdering his friends to save them, it's still lower priority than saving the world from Aurora.
Right.
If you recall, Aurora has a void monster that's eating her soul. And when it finishes, it will be super powerful and it'll come out and it'll destroy the world. We still have to do that first. We talked to Croesus about this, and he sort of accepts that that's higher priority, saving the world and all. And he sort of says, okay, I'll try to hold it together while we do that, knowing that we will then go and get my friends' hearts out of the wall. That's our plan. We're going to go with Kalinar's plan. It's actually somewhat similar to the plan we originally had for Croesus' friends.
Yeah.
We're going to go into the past and find the party that Aurora was in the past that went to go and fight the Void Monster, which is where it got into her soul. And we need to clunk the old Aurora over the head, get her out of the picture. I don't know, maybe kill her. It's actually it's okay with stars. They just wake up under a tree somewhere. Well, in Aurora's case, it's always a tree. Other stars wake up other places. Depends on their constellation. There's got to be some sucky constellations to be a part of. It's like, every time I die, I wake up in the manure pile because I'm part of the manure pile constellation or something. So we got to get the old Aurora out of the way, sub in our Aurora for the final battle with the Void Monster, so that when the Void Monster tries to eat part of her soul, it'll actually eat the part of itself that it left in her. So it'll destroy itself, essentially.
Well, couldn't it also just eat one of the pieces of your soul that...
Kalinar assures us this is a good plan. And he's never led us astray. We trust Kalinar implicitly to have good ideas. No, it's a terrible idea, but it's the only one we have. And, why not? We'll give it a try. What's the worst that could happen?
Worst case scenario, you have two void monsters inside.
Two void monsters inside Aurora. And, I mean...
Maybe they'll fight. Yeah, I don't know. Just keep repeating the loop until her soul is just full of void monsters, and it can't avoid but eating itself.
If our plan goes awry, we can always go back in time and try and thwart our plan.
Yes.
It's great having that as an option. That means we can try anything.
And you guys figured out that you can go to different places in time.
Yeah. It's still not completely arbitrary.
Right.
You can't just pick a point and go there. We're gonna wind up a couple months before the final battle, I think it is. And that was 5 years ago. And also the locations where we travel to are a little weird. We're gonna wind up just outside the Empire of Endless Flowers, 5 years in the past.
Right.
The party is really happy about that.
So what else happened this session?
That was pretty much it. After Croesus' freakout, we did all this planning as for what we were going to do to fix Croesus and what the priority levels were. And unfortunately, we can't fix Croesus right away. But he's gonna stick with it. And it's hilarious in a out of character way because Tim keeps assuring us his plan for Croesus was he would start out at the beginning of the campaign all broken and crazy and stuff, and then start recovering over the course of it all. And every single thing that's happened has just made it worse.
Yeah.
I mean, the very first thing that happened in the campaign was he got thrown back into the chasm, which is like his worst nightmare.
Yeah.
And so he's super broke right off the bat. He wasn't intending to be quite as broken as he is now.
Yeah.
But he's like, well, I've been thrown in the chasm, I guess. And now he was starting to recover. He was starting to sort things out. Because we saved Aderon.
Yeah.
And that sort of made him think, maybe, okay, my dream is starting to recover. It's, the bad things are going away. Contact Obelisk. Nope, Croesus, you're broken. Go die.
This is a bad dream.
So he has a healing dream. He's still told go commit suicide.
Yep. And also, all his friends just went and became slave owners in his dream. He's like, yeah, this is... See, the thing is, since he thinks we're all part of his subconscious, he thinks that everything we do is kind of his responsibility and is like a reflection on him in some way.
Yeah.
And so the fact that all of his friends just went and became slave owners, it means like, wow, I'm really screwed up. All these things that are part of my subconscious that I think of as friends just went and became Hitlers. Yep. All of them became Hitlers. So yeah, poor Croesus. Nothing's going right for him. And I was telling everyone, it's great because, just last session, Cricket contacted her highest authority.
Yeah.
And she came out of it like, la 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 la, everything's great, everything's wonderful, it's all, she said to Cricket, basically, you're doing great, you're doing better than you think, trust your own judgment, if you ever need...
Get registered.
Yeah, if you ever need anything, you can contact me directly, and then, so Cricket was like, Cricket doesn't care if it's a trap, it's an authorized trap. It's a fully authorized, this is,
I do not want you to update automatically. You will ask nicely.
No, that was the first order that the party had, was like, don't contact her without asking. It's like, okay.
It's obviously a trap. No one is ever nice to me.
Well, Cricket is totally convinced that
Frank's
everything is great.
Some beaten puppy syndrome.
Yeah, I really have.
I mean, out of character, I totally know that, the Serpent Priestess is probably up to no good. She's probably the Serpent Queen in disguise, all that kind of stuff. She's probably going to try and stab the party in the back. But Cricket's okay with all of that.
Well, today has been a really difficult day. There doesn't seem to be anything I can say that will help my friend. But the one good thing that happened is at least we encouraged the warforged to properly cremate those bodies. I feel like even though that they did so wrong by murdering those people, in some way they have atoned slightly by properly disposing of their... they've given them some dignity at the end. Maybe there's hope yet for the warforged. Maybe they can be taught. Oh, I don't know how to help my friend.
Well, Croesus is broken. Again. And this time he knows it, which seems to have broken him worse. I think it's time we actually do something to help him, because we can't let things continue like this. I don't know, we can time travel. Let's do that. Let's go find when this all happened back in the chasm, when he was on detached duty, and do something. We'll have to figure it out.
Well, Croesus is broken again. Well, at least there's nothing that a little jaunt through the past can't fix. Hopefully, we don't have any more complications this time, though.
Well, essentially, though the obelisk is a dream, I suppose in this dream it is symbolic of authority and of the truth that I am refusing to recognize, which is that I am broken, and that I have been running from my obligation to do a task which will certainly kill me. And I don't want to die. I want to have good times with you guys. I want to ride eagles and have fun and try to fix poor Cricket, but it's that part of me that wants to live that is broken. That's the essential conflict between my duty and whatever pixie influence that makes me want to do things other than my duty that I can't run from. And I suppose when this spell wears off, I'll go back to trying to run from my own self, and that will eventually drive me insane. Yup.